In this video, we're going to go over 7 different passive income sources that you can start using to generate income in this coming year. Hopefully some of these sources will be a little bit less common than some of the typical ones that you'll see in some other blog posts or some other YouTube videos about passive income. So let's get right into this video. If you find this video to be helpful though, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't done already for more videos like this one. All right, so let's get into this. Let's start with number 7 and let's work our way down to the number 1 passive income source for this coming year. So starting with number 7, it would be by renting out your stuff. And now what I mean by this is that we're becoming more and more of a sharing economy. And so over the years, we've been sharing more and more of our personal items. So just to use as an example here of something that you could rent out, you could consider something like your car. So there's something called Turo. It's an app. It's also Turo.com. Now I'm not affiliated with any of these websites or companies that I'm mentioning in this video whatsoever. I'm not getting paid by anybody to say this, but Turo is an app where essentially you can rent out your car, kind of like a car rental company, to random people, usually visitors who are coming into your area, into your city, and you can rent it out for $50, $60, $70 a day or more for your car. And I know at first this sounds a little bit sketchy, like what if somebody rents your car and then drives it off a cliff? No, actually, you will be insured by Turo. You can also do this for something like renting out your boat. If you own a boat, you can rent it out. I can't remember the specific site that you can use to rent out your boat, but you can get hundreds of dollars per day, depending on what kind of boat you have, to rent it out to people like vacationers, and then you're insured up to about $1 million or so, depending on what company you're doing this through. But it's a very interesting concept. If you have something that you own that you could consider renting out, I would definitely look into it. It's very easy passive income. You can even rent out cameras like the one I'm filming with right now. I can rent it out on a few different websites that maybe I'll leave some links to them down below. But essentially anything that you own that has some value to it, there's a good chance that today in 2018 you can probably rent it out to somebody. And luckily through most of these companies, so long as you're not doing this like over a Craigslist, most of the companies that you do these rentals through, you'll actually be insured for the thing that you're renting out to people. So definitely look into it. Think about some things that you could rent out for different possibilities. Okay, so let's get into the next 6 different possibilities behind passive income sources. And the next one that I want to mention, it's not only stock photos, but also stock video and actually stock music. So what I mean by this is that most people, they talk about stock photography, and that's always an option. You can do iStock Photo and Shutterstock, and there's many different websites out there that you can take pictures and then put them on there and get passive income from those pictures. But what you can also do is video. So you could do that with this camera right here. It cost me $500. I could go around, say, New York City and make tons of stock video that I can then sell on some of these different sites for $40, $50, $60 or more, some of them well into the hundreds of dollars for a stock video. Now, what you could also do, and I don't really see people talking about this, but it's definitely an opportunity, is you can actually create music and beats, for example. So, this doesn't have to be as difficult as people make it out to be. Now, I'm obviously not a musician, but what you could do, and I find it to be pretty interesting because personally, what I do, I buy music and beats for my YouTube channel. Sometimes I will buy a beat for commercial licensing for like $20 or $30 to now own it, and now I'm able to use that for commercial purposes. Well, what you could do is you could actually become the person who makes those beats and that music, and you can do this through various Adobe software and other free software that you can get on your computer, and it's actually not too difficult. Watch some YouTube videos, learn how to make basic music, basic beats, and then sell those over time. You make YouTube videos about it, and then you can generate a very good amount of income from those different sources. So stock photography, stock video, and then even stock music. You can sell those beats for years and years to come for something that might take you a couple hours to create, and then you pump it out, and then you get it out there for a very long time. So let's get into the next 5 different sources of passive income. Number 5, it might seem like a long shot for some people, but it's actually probably a lot easier to accomplish than you might realize. So if you ever watch the show Shark Tank, you see Mark Cuban and Kevin O'Leary and those other sharks on Shark Tank, well, they are investors, and they can buy parts of a company. So they can buy 10% of a company, 20% of a company. Well, you can actually become one of these people in your local community. And these are called incubator events that entrepreneurs will have going. And so what you could do is you could become a silent partner in one of these businesses. And this is an amazing opportunity. So let's just say that Betty wants to open up a bakery and she needs $5,000 and she's offering 10% of her future bakery business. Well, if you have $5,000, you put that down, now you own 10% of her business, you're gonna get 10% of those profits, and you're a silent partner in that business. So it's a very interesting way to make money, and you don't have to have millions of dollars to do this. You don't have to be Mark Cuban to invest, $1 million into a company for 10% of the company. You can do this very small scale. Usually these are at like your local university. You'll see these incubator events. So just keep an eye out for them, and I really think it's an awesome opportunity if you go there and you check out what these small startups are trying to do, and then you can get into it. Just to give you an example here, when Steve Jobs started Apple back in the 1970s, I think the first investor, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I think he put in, it was something about $70,000 or so, and he got a certain percentage of Apple. And so you could essentially become a person like that. Now, you might not buy 10% of Apple when it first starts, but there could be small businesses that you could get into and become a silent partner and make money passively for a very long time by just buying into the company, giving them some money, and now you own a percentage of the company. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a massive business. You don't have to have a ton of money, just a couple $1,000s. You could probably buy a percentage of a new startup. And I think this is a lot better than something like penny stocks, which I don't want to bash on penny stocks, but I think when you're actually meeting a small business owner in person, you're shaking their hand and you're creating a relationship with them, it makes it a much better option than something like penny stocks where you're trying to do it over the internet and you're trying to make money, and it can become very, very troublesome pretty quickly. So there's 4 more on this list that I want to mention, and number 4 actually creates a little bit of a backstory here that I need to tell you about. So there's a man in my community, he's coming up on 30 now, but when he was graduating high school, what he started to do, he started a tool rental business, and this is a great source of passive income. Now he's built this up. I'm sure it's well into the millions of dollars, the business that he has. You drive down the highway and you see the amount of tools that he has. He has front-end loaders, backhoes, forklifts, and he's renting these out for hundreds of dollars per day, dump trucks, all kinds of heavy-duty equipment. But he started very small by renting out like chainsaws and log splitters and very small items for $40 or $50 a day. And then over time, he built that up. He reinvested it, and he created this pretty large tool rental company. And when you think about it, it's very practical, because say that you want to go out and you want to build a shed in your backyard, but you need some power tools for that. And you have 2 options. You could go out and buy $600 worth of power tools, or you can just rent $200 worth of power tools and get the job done, because you might only need those power tools for one single project, and then you don't need it anymore, and you don't want to have some massive bandsaw laying around your house when you don't need it. So that's why you could start a tool rental company, and it can become very passive, especially if you outsource some of the labor, you hire a mechanic. That's what this guy, he has a whole team going now, and I'm sure he is very involved with the business, but he could set it up to automate a lot more than it is currently at the moment. So a tool rental business, just an interesting idea that I saw in my community that I thought would be somewhat beneficial to some people. Maybe you can get some ideas from this video and sort of like spin them off into your own ideas about how you could do something along these lines. Number 3 may just be my favorite passive income source, and that is by creating online courses. Now, there's a few routes to go here, and immediately some people will shut this down. They'll say, I don't want to be on camera, I don't want people seeing my face, I don't want to be associated with something. And I think that's overblown, those concerns that people have, because really you don't have to have your face connected to anything. You can create online courses on something like Udemy. Once again, not sponsored by any of these companies I'm mentioning here, but udemy.com, you can create online courses there. And then some of these courses that I've taken on Udemy, I've paid like $12 for, and there's thousands of people who buy certain courses here. Like some of them, they'll sell 20,000 or 30,000 of their courses for $12 a piece. And some of them are quite literally just PowerPoint slides that somebody voices over. But I've bought many of these courses, and I found so much value in these online courses. And Udemy can actually market those courses for you. So it's not like you have to have a fan base right away to start creating these courses. You can just do them on Udemy and bang it out in a weekend probably. I mean, I swear, some of these courses, they definitely make them in a weekend. Maybe it takes them a week to make them. It's just a slew of PowerPoint slides that they read through, and they show you how to do something. But they can be very, very beneficial. I mean, mean, I've gotten many great Udemy courses that I've learned a lot from, and I've paid $12 for them or 20 some dollars for them and gotten a great amount of value out of those courses. So you could consider that, or you can go the route of starting a YouTube channel and then selling like a $500 course. People do that and they make a lot of money. A lot of YouTubers today are selling their courses for very large chunks of change, and they're making a lot of money. Now, as far as this channel, I don't think I'm going to be selling courses so much on that. I might get into Udemy a little bit because I do like discounted information. It's a great option, udemy.com, or just creating your own online course. Now, you could sort of differ from this and you could go with an ebook route. I choose online courses though. I think online courses are just better. I think people want to watch videos. Ebooks are certainly helpful as well, but the profit margins on online courses can be much more exponential than something like an ebook that could really kind of sputter out. But you know, that's up to you how you want to do that. But selling information products along those lines, it's a great route to go. I mean, if you look at somebody like Tai Lopez, that's exactly what he does. People have been wondering what Tai Lopez does. How does Tai Lopez make money? Well, he's actually making his money through his online courses. That is his primary source of income. He sells online courses, and love it or hate it, he makes a lot of money from those courses. So it's a great passive income source because you make it and then you can just reap the rewards from it for years and years to come from that one course that took you maybe a week to make, and now you can just make money on it for years and years to come. So it's a great option. There's two more that I think are important to mention on this list. Number two is something that everybody should be doing. Now, I'm not personally doing it because I don't own a home, so I can't really do it. And that is by utilizing Airbnb. Now, this is so important because you can make so much money from this. If you have an extra room in your house, if you have a couple rooms in your house, you can get well over $100 per room, depending on where you live. Sometimes it's going to be lower. Maybe you'll get $50 or $60 or $70 per night per room that you have in your house. But you can utilize Airbnb and you can rent it out, sort of run your house like a hotel. So if you're not comfortable having people in your house with Airbnb, you could also consider renting out parking spaces. You could actually probably do Airbnb in a camper. There's so many possibilities behind this. You could rent out land to farmers. If you have a garden, just rent it out to somebody. Land and property is something that you can always rent out to people. It's such a great opportunity for people. If you're looking for passive income, it can be incredibly passive. If you have a couple of acres of land and somebody wants to grow something in there or raise some animals in there, they can totally do that, and you can get easily a few $100s per month just off of that land. But like I said, Airbnb, amazing route to go if you own a home or you have an apartment where you're allowed to do that. It's just a great option. The number one passive income source can truly be any business. So, you know, I'm going to try to explain this as best as possible, but if you've ever read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, it's an amazing book. Some people don't like it. They find the author to be somewhat of a snake oil salesman, but it's very interesting. If you're interested in passive income, I would definitely consider reading it. You're going to get a lot of different ideas, and then you can sort of take some of them and run with them if you would like. But what it comes down to is that 95% of businesses can be fully automated. And so when you think about some of the richest people in the world, they only have 24 hours in a day. They have the same time that you and I have, but the difference is they automate their businesses. So what they'll do is they'll set up a business, and let's just say like a lawn care company, for example. They'll set it up and then they'll eventually hire people and then have it automated. So they'll have like managers, and the managers will take care of the business. And now the person at the top, they don't really have to do too much, and it's fully automated or 99% automated. They don't really have to touch it. So then they can go and work on a different business. And that's the key behind this. And you can really do this with almost any business. That's what I do with my eBay business. It doesn't make very much money today, probably $30 or $40 a day, depending on the day. But, you know, I really don't touch the business. I have somebody else ship out the products for me. And so this proves that you can really do anything passively. You can make passive income with any different business that you can think of. Even like a plumbing company, you can start one and then create passive income through that by automating the entire business. And that's really number one here. It doesn't matter what business you're starting, just learn how to automate that business. And that's what I love about this book. Maybe I'll leave a link in the description if I actually remember to put it down there for this book. It's definitely interesting. You can also probably get it for free, the Audible version. It might be on YouTube, I think, or you can find it on Audible as well. But definitely look into that. So the number one source, just any business. You look at some of the richest people in the world. Think about Warren Buffett. He started with pinball machines and gumball machines. He's making 25 cents for these different products, but he had this set up passively. So it's a great opportunity. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.